What's going on, everyone? So Los Angeles Lakers traded Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic, and a very shocking move. I mean, to this day, it's crazy that Luka Doncic is a Laker and is about to take over the league because he just had this complete transformation because the Dallas Mavericks decided to drag him through the mud over and over again. And then they stopped for a moment and then came back and did it again and again. And I just think Luka is ready to just burn the NBA down. And I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to watch him. I think he's going to have an MVP level season. If he plays 65 games, I believe he will win the MVP. I've said it on several occasions already. I think, he's going to have the stat line. I think the Lakers are going to be good enough as far as record-wise goes. I think, you have fatigue, right, for like Jokic and all these other players. And I think the NBA would love to be able, and just the reporters and the news and everything like that, one, to have a Laker guy, two, to have Luka win one. Right. And I just think he's going to get the Laker bump, all of that. I think that's huge. And, I've talked about this before. I think Luka and LeBron James have the potential to be the absolute far and away best pairing in all of basketball. There were moments last year where it looked like, hey, we're there. You're going to have a full offseason, a full training camp, full preseason, right? They're going to be able to kind of mold and shape and just get a lot more time with each other than they did last year. And Luka's going to be healthier, more energized. Not just that, but Luka's everything that LeBron has been asking and begging for as far as like the type of player. A guy that can take the keys, right? And, be the guy driving the vehicle. And Luka's that. Love Anthony Davis. He wasn't. And he's probably the best two option ever, right? But realistically speaking, he's a guy that, given where LeBron is at this stage of his career, he needed Anthony Davis to take the reins. And on occasion, you'd see, and it looked like he would, and then he'd be right back to like, okay, he's really the second guy. How many times do we have to see LeBron, just elevate to that level just for us to have a chance to win? How many playing times? Like, it's just love Anthony Davis. I think he's going to go down in history as, an all-time Laker great, right? He's going to join the very many. And yet, I just think Luka, outside of like the obvious, like Anthony Davis's age compared to Luka's age, right? The long-term approach. There was a lot of questions in a post Anthony Davis or post LeBron with Anthony Davis era, right? Even a post Anthony Davis era. Now you have that solid with Luka Doncic. So I think the Lakers are in incredible shape with that. And even if there wasn't an age difference or anything, I think at the end of the day, Luka's just the better player and he's more comfortable taking the reins and being the guy, which is what at this stage of LeBron's career, the Lakers really need. They need that clear-cut, bona fide guy who has the chance, who can throw a team on his shoulders and lead them to the promised land. But not only was this just a huge benefit, period, but it looks like we got some new information in regards to Anthony Davis in particular and the Dallas Mavericks. It looks like the plan was to always go to the Dallas Mavericks from Zach Lowe, which I think is kind of interesting. But I want to read what Zach Lowe had to say, and then we'll talk about the details. But according to Zach Lowe, is LeBron James unhappy that they traded Anthony Davis, his buddy, and his fellow Clutch client, championship co-star? I don't really think so. There was an ESPN story a couple weeks ago about LeBron in this situation in which the reporting was that they understood that when Luka falls into your lap, you got to take him. And if the price is AD, the price is AD, which I agree with. Lakers could have sold everything. AD, Max Christie, all their first, right? Austin Reeves, you name it. They could have sold everything. And on top of Anthony Davis. And guess what? You do that 10 times out of 10 because Luka's that good, that transcendent. You talk about one of the 3 to 5 best players in all of basketball. So that alone is worth it. But they were able to do that and keep a lot of the pieces to be able to make other moves. And we'll see how that goes this year. But he also continued, I don't even think Clutch was mad about AD going to Dallas. AD and Nico Harris have been close for a long time. I think that was sort of their long-term radar anyways, from what I've heard. So again, according to Zach Lowe, AD and Nico Harris have been close for a long time, right, with this time at Nike and all that stuff. So them having a relationship, them being close, understandable. That I don't really, I'm not surprised in that regard. But again, he says, I think that was sort of their long-term radar anyway, from what I've heard. So, according to Zach Lowe, there was the potential, right, of Anthony Davis moving on from the Lakers to the Dallas Mavericks. Couple things, right? One, Anthony Davis wanted a center for years, right? If LeBron retires, there were genuine thoughts and questions about what is Anthony Davis going to do? Is he going to stick around? Is he going to request a trade? Right? Like, as much as there was conversations about can he be the guy that can take you to the next level, there were genuine questions of like, is he the guy that is going to stick around? Or does he look at it as like, I went to the Lakers because of LeBron, right? Because you got to remember, there was a point in time where he wanted to go to the Boston Celtics, right? But LeBron James, clutch, knew he could go win a championship, go to LA, so he forced himself to LA, right? Well, if the plan was for him to go to Dallas at some point, it's very possible he could have just, once his contract expired, just went on, mosey on down to the Dallas Mavericks. Or he could have, let's say LeBron retired, let's say Anthony Davis is still on the Lakers. What if LeBron retires next year? Right? We could be looking at losing LeBron and then Anthony Davis going like, hey, trade me to Dallas. And, maybe they keep Luka at that point because they're like, man, look at what LeBron and AD were able to do. They were able to win a championship. What is Luka and AD? What are they able to do? Right? And now what are you doing? Now you're taking on maybe a bunch of role players because at that point, you're probably not going to really want Kyrie Irving. So it's just like, are you getting a package that makes sense long term? Like, Lakers could have been in a terrible spot, terrible position, right? So, regardless, I mean, at the end of the day, Dallas traded Luka, right? Now, is there a alternate universe where they don't trade Luka and they have Anthony Davis, Luka on the same team? Sure, but that's not the reality we live in now. And so the fact that, one, again, you had all the uncertainties, you had all the question marks, you had all the concerns, and then you follow that up with, Anthony Davis may have just have left you or requested a trade or something. The best possible outcome that could have happened for the Lakers happened because you got Luka Doncic. And here's the thing. If the Lakers kept Anthony Davis, right, and he wanted a trade, say he gets into a contract year and he wants out, he wants a trade, right, you're probably not getting a Luka level return. Probably getting a pretty nice package, right? Because I think there's teams that would pony up, right? I think you'd probably get some nice draft picks and stuff like that. You'd probably get a decent rebuild package. Maybe not from Dallas, but that's the other thing too. He could do what he did to the Pelicans, he could have done to the Lakers and been like, I only want to go to Dallas. Dallas is the only team I want to go to. Trade me to Dallas. If anyone else trades for me, just to let you know, I'm just going to sign with Dallas, right? And, that could have been an absolute mess and disaster because you wouldn't have gotten the package in return that you needed. Maybe you could have gotten this draft pick and, maybe that's assuming, one, Anthony Davis would have requested the trade now, but, maybe you could have, there's an alternate universe where, the Lakers end up with Cooper Flag, right? Like that could have been fun. That could have been something interesting, but the best possible outcome, the best result was landing a guy like Luka Doncic. Because it's not just Luka's great, it's that he's great and he's young enough to be great for the next 8 years at least. And he's a guy that's not, I know he has a 42-inch vertical, right? For those that get it. But, I mean, maybe he really does. We'll see. But point is, he's not a guy that is reliant on athleticism. Like, he's a guy whose game will probably age very gracefully because he's not this super explosive, blow by guys, get to the basket, yam on everybody, like, right? Like, it's not any of those things. He's a guy that's, methodical, gets to the defense, very crafty, very shifty, he's constantly shifting. As long as his legs work, he's going to be good at the game of basketball. He's another guy that could, have a KD level career and a LeBron level career where he's playing 20 seasons and doing all this stuff, right? So, I mean, we're 3 seasons away from him being in tenure. So it's possible. I mean, he could be on the Lakers another 10, 12 years even, Right? So that's something that we could kind of keep an eye on. And, you have pieces in place right now that I do believe the Lakers have a shot to win a championship. And I do think you have pieces that could potentially be long-term pieces alongside Luka, right? DeAndre Ayton, if he works, is probably the best center the Lakers could have alongside Luka Doncic, right? Because of his versatility on the offense side, but also is able to be that lob threat, right? Jake LaRavia's 23, Bronny James, Adu Thero, right? Like you have several guys that if they pan out and they work, right, you could have these guys for multiple seasons and kind of have that foundation around Luka. Guys that can just build chemistry with him over the years. And then on top of that, you're adding in whatever you need during that next wave. LeBron departs, boom. What's that next wave? What's that next star? Maybe it's Ayton that's that star. Right? What if Ayton's giving you 20 and 10 or 20 and 12 this season, and it's like, oh, wait till LeBron leaves and he's basically the second or third guy. What if he's a 25 and 12 guy, right? Like maybe that's your guy. Maybe you're just adding the athleticism around them. But let me know your thoughts and opinions. As always, this is a discussion, so I pass question you. Let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. I enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.